Yeah, look, I guess the physicality of the game's increased maybe tenfold over the past sort of 40, 50 years, and that's only going to continue to increase into the future. So a big part of that is making sure that our kids are prepared to tolerate the demands of the game and compete as successfully as they can at the professional level. So today we've gone about testing the kids in the different physical capacities as they relate to tennis. Kicked off here this afternoon with a speed test, and I had one of our best times ever recorded through Benny Mitchell. So he ran a 284, so anything sub 3 basically is pretty indicative of someone who's covering 20 metres pretty quickly. So I had Benny and a couple of the other boys compete pretty well over that distance. That then flowed into the vertical jump testing, which is a measure of their ability to generate force vertically through the ground. And again, had a few standouts over the journey this afternoon. They've just covered off on a change of direction test in terms of agility, important on the tennis court. We know that average point involves around 4 changes of direction, so that's got immediate transfer to what we see on court. They're about to undertake a repeat speed ability test, which basically encompasses them running 20 metres 10 times with 20 seconds of rest in between. So that ability to, with short rest, recover quickly and generate large amounts of force once again. And then this afternoon they'll finish off with the beep test. They get 12 hours, 15 hours rest, and then they're out here again tomorrow morning to do the strength testing in the gym, repetition max testing on squat, deadlift and bench pull. But by and large, it's a really complex sport, so it's not like a lot of other sports in the sense that success solely demands on my physical capacity, for example. So success in tennis relies on my technical expertise, so my stroke production, stroke mechanics and so on. Tactically, how I'm able to think out on court and put it all together. Mentally, I need to be resilient. And then, lastly, from a physical perspective, I need certain attributes as well that lend themselves to tennis success. So that sits a little bit differently to athletics, for example, where it's just, by and large, about my capacity to run quickly. So from that point of view, tennis, by its very nature, is a little bit more difficult to program for, as well as coach. An extension of that is obviously science playing a role. So it's taken a little bit longer in our sport than in many others, simply because of the myriad of factors that contribute to success. 2011 will see us build upon some of the foundations that we've put in place over the last 2 years in particular. So that'll mean that we've got a more concentrated focus with a smaller number of athletes, particularly in the AIS program. So naturally enough, that'll mean that more of our service providers and strength and conditioning coaches, psychologists and so on are able to spend more concentrated time with each and every athlete. In the area of performance analysis, we'll continue to lead the world there by virtue of Darren McMurphy's work in video analysis, tagging matches and looking at what our opponents are doing. And likewise in biomechanics, we'll continue to use the 3D analysis laboratory here in Canberra to get a better understanding of stroke development from very young ages right the way through to the adult game.